was Cain afraid of killing him after he murdered his brother Abel? Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm the day-to-day apologist, and I'm going to be answering that question right now. Now, people read from Genesis, and the question comes from Genesis chapter 4, verses 13 through 14. Basically, it's Cain's conversation with God after Cain has premeditatedly murdered his brother. And God saying, you are now exiled from the land. There's, you're cursed because of what you've done. And Cain's basically whining and crying, saying, you're not going to be with me anymore. I have to leave the land that that I'm in. And, he says, and whoever finds me will kill me. Now, a person reading this will go, whoa. Adam and Eve, weren't they the first people made by God? They were made in the Garden of Eden? Yes. Isn't Cain the firstborn and Abel the secondborn? Yes. So who is Cain afraid of murdering him if they're the only people on the planet? Are there other people on the planet besides Cain, Adam and Eve? And if so, where do they come from? Those are all, I think, fair assumptions just reading the information. But I think this we have to read a little bit between the lines. And I believe this suggestion that I'm about to make makes more sense on why and who Cain was afraid of. So first off, we need to understand that Cain and Abel, it says in Genesis 4, 2 through 4, that Cain and Abel owned land. They had their own land. One was taking care of sheep, the other were taking care of produce. And that's how the whole thing started. Cain gave his flock from his land, fat portion as a sacrifice to God, or Abel did, and then Cain gave his grains portion to God, and God chose favorably to Abel's sacrifice. And that upset Cain. Cain, was warned by God, don't do anything, but he did something anyway, and he ended up killing his brother. Now, if they own land, it's safe to assume that they're probably in their 20s, 30s, or maybe even 40s. It also says in Genesis chapter 4, verse 17, that when Cain leaves the land after being a spot being put on him that warns people not to kill him, he takes his wife and he leaves with his wife. So he has a wife. It doesn't say his newlywed wife in the Bible, it says his wife, which means he's probably married for a little bit of time. Now, if Cain had a wife and they are in their 20s and 30s, where did the wife come from? Who's he afraid of killing him? Well, I think it's safe to assume that Adam and Eve had other children after Cain and Abel. The Bible mentions Cain and Abel, but it's probably safe to assume that they were honoring God's command to be fruitful, multiply, and to, go into the land, into the world, populate it. And so Adam and Eve probably had other children. So who was Cain afraid of? Cain was afraid of, in my opinion, of his siblings. Why? Because he'd murdered his brother. Abel was probably well liked, considering he was, the line of Jesus was going to come through Abel, which Seth's line, he was the child replacement of Abel, is where Jesus' line comes from, Seth. Now, it would make sense because they probably would want to take Cain's land, and they'd want to go and kill Cain because he had done something that was evil. Cain was the first murderer, so he said, well, if I can find reason to kill someone for doing the right thing, and my actions were evil-based, then it's safe to assume that my siblings can find justice and kill me for killing their brother and my brother. So he leaves, and the Bible doesn't say that he goes and talks to his family, which supports that idea even more. He just leaves. He takes his wife and he gets out of Dodge and he has a child, Enoch, in a different land. So that's who I think who Cain was afraid of killing him. No one out in the land, but his own family going and hunting him down and killing him for doing that, which is why God put the mark and said, if you kill Cain, there will be punishment from me. He's protected by me. So I hope this answers the question. If you have questions, please put them down in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button, the notification button. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for supporting these videos, and keep coming with those questions. Have a great day.